None of us really know. None of us really know.
I know.
No, I know. Perfect timing, Keith.
Keith, what's up?
Your favorite movie of all time, F9.
Oh, good.
How is there any other choice than Remember the Titans being number one?
I'm curious.
I'm spoiling mine, but
Well, let's see. Here we go. Yeah, that's a good, good
I'm
question,
not even
Brian.
done talking.
you shouldn't be talking at this point.
And we're live. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Apocaflix Now, the weekly movie hangout show here on Apocaflix Movies. Why are you already questioning me?
And we're live as a POV thing.
It's my intro thing.
Oh.
I can say whatever the hell I want on whatever show I want. Doesn't matter which show we're on.
Interesting.
Right? I am the host tonight, so guess what? I say what I want to say. Plain and simple.
Interesting.
No wonder why he wanted to be host today.
I am your captain tonight as we discuss a very hot topic in the world of movies. And joining me is three of the four fellow amigos here on Apocalypse Movies. Unfortunately, Keith Barnes will not be with us tonight, but we do have Mr. Gio Ramos. What's up, bud?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, I've been obsessed with the Batman ever since I watched it. I've only seen it twice, sadly. I did, however, get Paramount Plus because a certain series is releasing in a couple of weeks, and I would literally have to be locked up in order to miss that show. So, yeah.
Is it Halo?
Wait. Halo, motherfucker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what
What
do
do
you
say? It has to be Halo, right?
I was like,
not Moon
Batman's
Knight.
not.
Halo.
I think I'll watch that.
John Booz, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You've never seen us in the same room, John. You've never seen us in the same room. Mr. Brian Alessino, how's your week been, man?
Hectic. Crazy. Kids, it's conference week, so I'm doing that. I have kickball at 9:30 at night tonight. More
Nice.
conferences tomorrow. And the next day, and the next day. Just trying to get through this week because next week's spring break.
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah.
That's fun. That sounds exciting. Go kick some balls tonight, Brian. Go kick some.
I hope so. I'm trying to
Literally.
find out if we need one more person. So I'm like, hello.
All right, I'll be there, Brian. Let's go.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
with your
okay.
gimp foot. Uh-huh.
Speaking of Gimp, how you doing, Jacob?
What? I'm all right, man. You know what? I'm filled with optimism because, as you guys know, I had a foot injury or ankle injury, I guess you could say, and I had it the night of the Batman that we watched it, and like we go downtown, right? You got to park on the street, and I was like, but it wasn't that bad. I got a spot pretty close to the theater, so it wasn't too bad. But the reason I'm optimistic is because my foot is like almost at 100% now, and I'm like back to normal life. Like I thought I was gonna be limping forever because I was limping for like a week, and I was like, I thought it was
drama
way
queen.
worse than what it was.
Yeah, it's almost back to 100%, but there's a lot of complaining going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, during the time I could barely walk, but I'm just glad it's getting better. Like my doctor said, like if it heals quickly, then it's nothing that serious. But if it like keeps lingering, then it's gonna be worse. So I'm just glad.
Have you
to
ever
hear
broken
it.
a bone in your body?
Oh yeah, I've had 2 broken arms in my life. Yeah, I have before.
Damn.
But yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited because I think this movie that we're going to talk about today is going to bring up some interesting conversations. So I'm excited for that.
I swear to God, Jacob, you've been hyping this up since we jumped on the stream like 5 minutes prior. And if you don't do something that like backs it up, I'm gonna be pissed.
I'm just going to
Like-
turn around the Batman tattooed on my back. There we go.
I mean, I don't expect you to go that far, but still.
Wait,
Like-
I thought we were doing Marvel stuff today.
Yeah. Wow.
Jake pulled a fast one.
These two aren't too fun for my jokes, so I backed out of that one. So,
Gotcha.
I played a
Brian
joke on
didn't
them earlier.
respond
Everybody
either.
watching, I played a joke.
That's because it was my idea.
I played a joke on Jacob and Gio and Keith earlier, and they have no sense of humor.
Hold
so-
on. It's on a
no
group.
sense of
Okay.
It's on a group message. So it's hard to tell like people's reactions, but also what would have been a good reaction for you?
We were expecting Gio to say, "All right, well, I'm not going to be on."
Well,
I was expecting someone, not Gio, but someone to say, "Fuck off, we're talking Batman."
So I wrote,
Brian, I
we're
was
not going to
almost gonna
talk to
say
Batman,
that.
and I was waiting. Like I had it in my draft, and I was waiting for Gio to respond. I wanted Gio to be like, "What the fuck? Hell no! Fuck you guys, I'm out." Like that's what I was expecting Gio to do.
Channel, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Didn't we think it? Didn't I come up with this at the movie theater? I don't even know.
No, we were on Sunday's show for POV.
Well, the
yeah.
funny thing is, Jake made a whole thumbnail, which I'm
fire
sure you could,
thumbnail. By the way, fire thumbnail.
I'm sure you could use in the future, but to make us think that it was even super real, he made a whole thumbnail for it.
Hold on, I'm actually gonna pull it up because I think I do
Put
have
a
it.
lot of effort into that, man.
Mhm.
I think I have it. Yeah. Okay. This is everyone. This was what I made because obviously we're talking DC, right? I have to go Marvel, and this is the thumbnail I made trying to stump them and get a reaction. But like I said, they have no reaction. So I don't have permission to view my screen. Stupid StreamYard.
Wow.
Never mind.
That's interesting.
Never mind, everybody.
Amateur hour.
I apologize.
You said
Can I add it
amateur
here?
hour. Stop.
Can I? Let me see if I can do it here.
Mhm.
All right, this is great radio, everybody. Fantastic radio.
Absolutely.
I'm just waiting. I love that no one has said anything to Jake for like the last 2 weeks about all of the lights that he keeps putting more and more into his garage.
Here we go. Here's the thumbnail I made for the opposite show, the fake show. And hey, like, not a bad topic.
Wait a minute.
Not a bad topic.
That's the topic I sent you a week ago. I just realized that.
It's from the direct.
Yeah, the one I sent you one, and I was like, we should do a thing about all the.
I literally scrolled through the direct's Marvel Twitter.
I will go back and
was like,
a generic topic
because I sent you
doesn't
this,
matter.
And then you were like, "Oh, okay, well, okay, whatever."
Okay,
But no,
anyway,
it's not
back on
April
track.
yet. I had to check the calendar. I was like, "Is it April Fool's Day today?" It's not.
Back on track. We're going to be talking about two things only and two things only tonight. 99.9% of the show will be dedicated to the Batman spoiler discussion, breaking the entire film down because there is 3 hours of footage to talk about. But we're going to be actually discussing quickly the Movie Watch Challenge, catching back up because we didn't have a show last week. The most recent part of this segment, Geo watched the dog.
My lord, what is happening at your house?
Mother is getting home. Hey, you're fine. You're fine. And we are going to be discussing the part of the Movie Watching Challenge that Gio watched The Godfather Part 2. That review is up on the channel right now. Goodness.
For the record, Gabby knew exactly what she was doing
she
when she
didn't.
honked that horn.
No, she didn't. No, she didn't. And so now what we're going to do, because that review is up on the channel, pardon me, guys, is Gio's just going to be revealing who's challenging and what movie he is challenged to. So, Gio, if you want to take it over before we jump into the Batman, go ahead.
Yeah, like Jake said, go ahead and check out the video. My thoughts on The Godfather Part 2 and whether or not I think it's better than the original, the first one. But this week, I challenged Mr. Jake Berlin. And Jake, you are going to be watching a classic. This is Bruce Lee's first American film, and that is Enter the Dragon.
Okay.
Nice.
One of my top 10 movies. So
Okay. I think you've tried to challenge me this for a while.
When we used to do the votes, or he put it in there so many times.
Yeah, I've seen this pop up a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm excited. I mean, I love martial arts films, and Bruce Lee's obviously the legend that is martial arts. So, I'm in.
can I say something real quick? You know, earlier the other day, actually, I was thinking about Shang-Chi and how delightful of a surprise that movie was, and like why do I like that film so much? And obviously it's a great story and they're introducing a new Marvel character, but I think for myself it brought me back to a time when there were box office stars who were martial artists. You know, you think about the early 2000s and how you had Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Jason Statham, who is still around and is a legit martial artist. And, even on a smaller level, like, Tony Jaa, Tiger Chen and whatnot. And I'm just like, man, I miss that so much. And Shang-Chi kind of put martial arts back on the map. And I think for myself, that's part of the reason why I like that movie so much, is just how it takes me back to that time. So
I'm excited. Did you look up where it might be streaming, or is it?
Let me take a look.
It's okay. Look.
That's a great.
I don't imagine it's streaming anywhere.
Let's see. Prime Video, it's free.
Is it
There
really?
you go.
Voodoo, it's free. Tubi, it's free.
Perfect. Prime Video, it is.
Are
Sweet.
you sure you're not going to do Apple TV for $3.99?
Negative, Ghost Rider. Negative.
Oh, you have to rent it on there.
Yeah.
I see.
It's all right. I'll watch it on Prime Video. Sweet.
Oh, I finally have Apple TV, by the way. Finally.
Start
Finally.
binging all those shows, Jacob. Start binging all those shows.
Ted Lasso first.
All right, so yes, I will be reviewing Enter the Dragon later this week and have a video up, and then I'll challenge someone on that video, and we will talk about it next week on the show. But let's just stop holding up anything that is the
What's
Batman.
next?
Let's get right to it. We have no other discussions going on tonight other than the Caped Crusader himself. We finally got to see Matt Reeves Batman. We got to see Robert Pattinson under the cape and cowl. And we have quite a bit to talk about. It's going to be an open discussion. There's going to be heavy spoilers involved. We are going to be getting into every corner that we possibly can of this Gotham and this Batman, and all of the characters and story beats that are happening throughout this film, because there's a lot to get into. I just want kind of quick reactions, no like major review points in your response real quick, just before we get into deep dives about the characters and the stories and stuff like that. Your quick reaction to the movie now that we've been able to sit on it. Has it been a few days? Almost a week, actually. Actually, it's been a week. It's been a full
for
week.
us. We're not used to
weird
that.
because we saw it last Tuesday. So Jacob, I'll start with you. Your quick reaction now that we have had a week to sit on it. What do you think?
Look, so I mean, I'm sure you guys have picked up on this, but every time we come out of a movie, I never want to, like, I don't know yet. Every time we come out of a movie, so like we did that reaction thing, and I said, "Look, you guys are not going to be disappointed," because I wasn't disappointed. But I just like to let a film resonate for at least a couple days or a week or so. And I did see it a second time, and I'll just say, like, look, it's absolutely amazing. It's one of the best superhero comic book movies ever made. Like, there's no question about that. Wherever you land on it is up to you. But I just think, wow, like me personally, coming off like Spider-Man No Way Home and this within 3 months of each other is insane. But I love this movie. I'm not done with this movie. I still think like multiple viewings and time to think about it are going to, maybe alter my opinion, but I freaking love it. If somebody walked up to me and said, this is the best superhero movie ever made, I'm not going to think they're crazy. That's all I'll say for now.
Interesting. Gio?
Love this movie. Love the Batman. A little bit obsessed with it. I can't stop thinking about it. Watching other people's reviews and reactions and them raving about it. This movie's been a long time coming. I'm sure we were all hurt when Ben Affleck, stepped away from directing the Batman, and then, will step away from the role later this November. But God bless Matt Reeves and the job that he did directing this movie, Michael Giacchino, the entire cast, everything. An incredible IMAX experience. So,
and to think that Gio denied our request to join us for the movie initially. Could you imagine if he didn't get the experience in IMAX? And Brian, finally.
It's okay.
Liar.
No, I'm kidding. It was really freaking good.
What did Brian say in the the out of theater reaction, like holy moly or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Holy moly! That's all I can
Yeah.
say. Holy moly!
Yeah. Yeah, I would not argue with people saying that this is the best Batman movie. I would not. If someone said it, I'd be like, yeah, I believe that it could be. Totally agree. I don't know if it's mine, but I don't. They're not crazy for saying it. So yeah.
Yeah, I have a similar reaction. And I'm sure if you follow me on Twitter, you saw me, but I'll just say it right now, but this is the best Batman movie ever made. There's a lot to choose from, but this is the single-handedly best Batman movie ever made. And that's just my opinion. And you can disagree. I have a lot of friends who actually disagree with me. I've had many conversations over the last week with certain people about the movie and its certain, beats and what worked and what didn't work for them. I'm baffled by them, but I understand. And just for me, coming into that theater, I knew right away this is the single best Batman movie I've ever seen. So I'm excited to dive in and see what these gentlemen think about the certain things that happen in this film. I think the best way to kind of start this off, we can talk about the story and stuff, but the main part is Batman. Does Batman work, right? Who is playing the character under that suit? And there were a lot of questions for Robert Pattinson going into this film because he's the Twilight guy. Was he ever going to be able to get off of that? He's done a lot of small films that a lot of people haven't seen over the last number of years. And when he was cast, many kind of questioned the idea of him playing Batman. So let's dive into that a little bit. And there's two parts of this, Batman and Bruce Wayne. There's a lot more Batman than there is Bruce Wayne in this movie, which is one of the big things I love about it. But let's just open the floor. Robert Pattinson as Batman. Did it work? Why not? Who wants to start us off?
Rachel, I'm going to address that latest comment that you have later. So go ahead, Brian.
I think this is the most comic accurate Batman we've ever seen. The broody, pissed off, broody is just the word that sticks to my head the most because he's just so cynical and whatever. Like when it was Christian Bale, it was very much Bruce Wayne, a little playboy-y, if you will. Kind of dived more into that. Affleck was just kind of, his was just reminded me more of pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
Anything before Bale's kind of had a little bit of shtick to it. I feel like a little bit, not so much the dark broody type. Have I seen a Val Kilmer one? I don't think I've seen a Val Kilmer one, so I can't say anything about that one.
Wait, what? Really?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure you have. It's
Batman and
Jim
Robin.
Carrey, Tommy Lee Jones.
It's Batman and Robin, Brian, with Riddler and Two-Face.
Oh, it's okay. Well, I haven't seen it in so long that
Right, that's the one that's Kilmer, right? And it's Forever with Clooney.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. No, Forever is.
Vice versa. Yeah.
It's vice versa.
Batman and Robin is Clooney,
and that's the Mr. Freeze movie.
Yeah, Schwarzenegger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I haven't seen Val Kilmer.
Interesting. Okay.
Wow.
I've seen George Clooney's.
I thought everybody's seen that one.
Yeah, I liked when I think of my Batman, this is the type of my Batman that I like. I like dark, broody, not trusting, all that type of stuff. And to me, this was the most spot on to that.
Yeah, I agree. I very much like the aggressiveness to him. It's a very different type of character than what we've seen. And it's funny because we've seen, I guess the only one really that we've seen kind of the true origin is Christian Bale, where we saw him at the very beginnings of his Batman career. The other one just kind of kicked right off and which made sense. And I love that. And so just comparing him to Bale, it's a very, very darker version of the character. He is very mad, very aggressive. But the best word that I can describe him is that he's very broken. He's a very broken character. And I love that about it. I love that because the movie, there's a lot going on in the movie, and it's about relationships and it's about growth and a lot of these characters having to find who they really are, whether it be Selena Kyle or Bruce Wayne, or even how Alfred fits into the picture, right? Because Bruce has been struggling over the years. And so by the end of the movie, Bruce goes through this huge transition of really figuring out who he is as a character from the very opening monologue, which, by the way, I don't know if we'll ever speak on it, so I want to say it now. I am absolutely obsessed with the idea of how the movie started with a voiceover with him.
Yeah.
Right after the Riddler scene, we got the voiceover of him talking about what the sign means, and it's not a symbol, right? It's a warning. Like it's so great. And then the movie, it ends with him learning and understanding who he really is as a character. And so I just love the fact that he's gone through this entire transition and he is broken and beaten and battered, and he has no idea who he is as a character until those final moments of that movie where he finally clicks in his head of what he really means to that city. And Robert Pattinson played it great. I thought he played it fantastic. And it was such a great time seeing him really embody this role, and 90% of it being under the suit. So I have absolutely no problem with him being Batman going forward.
Well, me neither. So I told Gio this. Gio and I went and saw it on Friday, Gio, and I told Gio even after my second viewing, I was like, "Look, I'm still a little like maybe Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne is a little off-putting, but because he's the same in the suit and as out of the suit. He just acts exactly the same." And then I was thinking about it and I was like, wait a minute. He's only been Batman for 2 years. Every time we see him, he's already like a seasoned Batman other than the Dark Knight movies, right? Other than Batman Begins. And in this movie, he hasn't even like thought that, oh, I need to be this Bruce Wayne guy who goes out in public and does these events and contributes to the city. I don't even think he has even thought about that yet. He's just trying to get the Batman thing right. So he's walking around, and I realized this, like, now that I realized that he is, when he's walking around, even when he's at the funeral, he's not even responding to people. Like the mayor-elect is trying to talk to him. He's not even listening to her. He's looking around, like analyzing everything, thinking about the mission, and he doesn't even respond to people when they talk to him. And even as Batman too sometimes. And like you said, Jake, he's he's socially awkward, he's depressed, and he's only like obsessed with punishing criminals. And that's how he is in the beginning of the movie. So like coming from that perspective, I'm like, wait a minute, that Robert Pattinson played that perfectly. So in that sense, he's a great Batman. So but I think he's going to develop over multiple movies.
Well, he already ended the movie a completely different character than what he started as.
Yeah,
which obviously that's going to happen with a lot of movies. Yeah, but the next movie, it's funny because we've talked about, and Gio, I know that you're up next. I don't mean to cut you off, but we've talked about how, like, is this the perfect Batman movie? That was like the big question. It's on the thumbnail. Like that's the one question that we're kind of going for. Is what's funny is like how he ended up. Are we going to see an even better version of him now after already thinking that this version is like the version we've been waiting for? It's crazy to think about.
Mm-hmm.
I think our next Batman's going to have a time jump.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too. I don't think it'll pick up right away either. Yeah.
Go ahead, Gio.
No, to your guys' point, I think his turn for myself, and I need to watch it. I'm planning on watching it one more time, but I think his turn started with that scene between him and Alfred when, he's confronting Alfred about, this new revelation that he has learned about his parents. And I can't wait to read.
Right?
Yeah, the hospital. Yeah, I feel like that's when the turn started. But to all you guys' points, you absolutely nailed it. this was year 2 Batman. Matt Reeves talked about exploring the mental side of Batman, his psyche, and I saw people online saying things like emo Batman and this wasn't fun, and it's like, what in the trailers made you believe that this was going to be anything than what Matt Reeves promised? And I can listen to Matt Reeves all day talk about this movie, talk about Batman, his rogues gallery. That guy, he truly loves this character, this world, and it showed all the way in this movie right here. Robert Pattinson, great job. And it really, what we see lives up to the title, the Batman. It's 90% Batman and like 10% Bruce Wayne. And who knows, maybe that flips in a future movie, maybe the next one, where, I mean, he's obviously still going to be Batman, but it's going to be more leveled out. We'll get the playboy philanthropist in the sequel. So yeah, you guys nailed it.
To your point, Gio, about the online space kind of reacting to like, oh, we didn't get to see Bruce Wayne doing his party shenanigans, right? Like, why does that have to happen every single time?
Yeah, we've seen it before.
I don't want
why?
that.
Like, also, like, certain stories, wherever you start them and however you continue them, that's why they're called story arcs. And so what's to say that we don't see that version? Doesn't need to happen right away. Like, we just, I don't get some people, like, it's just so weird seeing the online space react to something so small of him not being the playboy philanthropist. At the same time, like, where in this movie would he have time to do that? The only real time we saw Bruce Wayne out in the public, he was at a fucking funeral. Like,
yeah,
he's going to be hitting up girls at a funeral?
it's the only time, right?
He's going to be a funeral crashing in Gotham? Like, I don't get the argument.
Remind me of Wedding Crash.
Yeah, well, they funeral crash.
Yeah.
I don't get the argument of like people saying, oh, that's not my Bruce Wayne because he's not hooking up with girls and driving fancy cars. Like, first of all, the dude's been Batman for 2 years. 2 years. He is clearly still dealing with a lot of crap. And for me, to see a version so fresh and so new that we haven't seen in live action before, we've seen it at times in comics and other stories, but you should be excited to like get something so new and different. And like, it has so many ties to so many classic Batman stories, whether it be the animated series or comic books or animated films. But the one thing you're clinging on to is the fact that he doesn't go around in a suit driving fancy cars, buying joints and parties and stuff. Like, that's stupid.
Buying joints, that's illegal.
I'm saying like, I said joints when I'm saying like buildings and restaurants.
Oh, he's gonna get there. Like,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a story arc. Like, let it happen.
It's a trilogy. Two more movies.
Not officially, but yes.
It's going to be a trilogy. Come on. It's going to be a trilogy.
I hope they make like 10 of them, to be honest.
No, me too. I was going to say, I think we'll get like 8 or 9.
It's funny because I made a couple of friends go that didn't really know like much into it other than just Batman. And they were like, yeah, it was really good for the first one of a trilogy. I'm like, how would you know if it's a trilogy? They're like, oh, it just seemed like it was going to be one of those movies that they're going to at least build a couple of films.
Matt Reeves has said it himself. He
well, I
wants
mean,
you
don't do just one Batman movie. Like, sorry, if you're gonna cast someone like Robert Pattinson, like, duh, like, don't just hide it from us. Like, it's gonna be multiple movies. Like, come on. Okay, real quick before we move on, I do want to bring a couple comments here that we have starred here. So first one's from Chuck. He says, "Love that he's not silent when he emerges from the shadows." Also love this.
Yeah.
That opening scene where we first see him in the suit at the train station, and you just hear him walking. Epic. And then Johnny.
Do they
Quest
mean that we hear his footsteps? Is that what they mean?
Yeah, like that ching.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because
also at the funeral, or not? At the funeral where he comes out of nowhere and he starts walking.
In other Batman movies, he just shows up, like he's just standing right next to the villain out of nowhere.
Well, so
I
don't know if we'll talk about it, but I wanted to bring it up. I love that the movie is heavily based on fear. Yes. It is a very fearful film. And again, it goes to that line of it's not a signal, it's a warning. Like
Mhm.
that is Batman. That is so Batman.
Yeah.
More Batman than we've ever. Like that is the most Batman line.
I'm like, they think I'm gonna come out in the shadows, but I am the shadows.
It's so good. It is so good. All right, Johnny Quest here with our first super chat. Thank you, Johnny.
What's up,
Thank
bro?
you.
Thank you.
In my opinion, the best portrayal of Batman in a live-action movie. Not as good as Dark Knight as a film or comic movie, but was fantastic. Didn't feel like 3 hours. I feel like we get more Bruce Wayne, Playboy in the second. Definitely down that second one, or that latter piece there. I definitely agree. On the 3 hours, I feel the same way. It did not feel like 3 hours to me. I don't know how you guys felt.
Well, as the king of slow movie stuff like that, I felt it just a little teeny bit in the beginning, but I mean, they're setting up the movie. So, but then after that, I was like, I think it was after the first hour. Like, I don't think I ever looked back at my watch because I was just like, how are we halfway? And it was like out 1 hour. And I was like, holy crap. And then after that, I didn't even look at it
Yeah,
again.
at first I was gonna at first I felt like it was too long, but then I was thinking like I wouldn't cut out 1 second of it, honestly. So, and there's other movies in the past that I've said are too long, and I can point out scenes that I would cut out. This movie, I can't point out a scene that I would cut out. So, that being said, I don't think it's too long, to be honest.
I
Like
need to see it again.
because every scene is pivotal, honestly. And even I know there are some scenes that people have pointed to, and I'm like, I can make an argument that that scene's necessary. So
The only thing that they can't cut a second out is the car chase.
The car chase was the best part of that whole entire
no,
movie.
of course
The car
not.
They
chase.
can't cut a single. You know what? Add 3 hours to that, and I'm happy. And I'm happy.
Oh,
That
Jake,
was- yeah.
man, I thought
Brian
you,
could attest to how I was reacting to
dude.
that. I
I
was
thought about
flipping
you
out.
when that engine started revving. I was just like, oh my
I lost
god.
it. I think
my
Brian saw
God.
me, but I was like losing it.
Like,
watching
vroom,
it.
Yeah.
vroom, vroom, and it's
And
like,
the score with the car,
Bro.
Hey,
Yeah.
they're gonna win sound mixing next year. Lock it in.
That the car chase was my favorite part of the whole entire movie, bar none. It was just
It's up there.
incredible.
It's
And
up there.
I think that was the best. My favorite part of the whole movie. The thing that I loved the most about this movie is the use of the music, score, I guess. Just the dun, dun,
the theme.
Yeah, the theme. But I mean, Catwoman had hers too, and stuff like that. My coworker said it was very Michelle Pfeiffer.
It
or not,
was.
It
was an homage to that. It was
Yeah.
very similar.
I don't think I've ever seen her as Catwoman, so I don't think so I didn't catch that or no. But the car chase was just it was so cool.
Wait, did you just say you haven't seen Batman Returns?
No.
We're gonna kick Brian
Are we
out
gonna
of
have to
this.
start challenging
I'm gonna-
Brian
to Batman movies.
to Batman movies, Batman Returns and Batman Forever? There we go.
I've seen
I'm
the
gonna-
Kiss by a Rose one, whatever that one is.
Oh jeez, I'm gonna get to a couple movies.
Is that Batman
Or, not a couple
Nipples?
movies.
I think it's Batman Nipples.
I think that's
is that
Batman
one.
and Robin. Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah. Okay, a couple comments real quick. Andy said here, I loved it, but it felt long to me. The third act is what I felt dragged. And then Harrison backs it up and says I felt it for the last 30 minutes of the movie.
I think
so there are some people who are kind of feeling it in that third act that maybe it took a little bit too long to get there.
That's funny. My friends back home said the same thing.
I do think that, I mean, I have a feeling that most of viewers probably feel that way. I will say, like, again, I didn't think that the 3 hours didn't hinder my viewing whatsoever, and I didn't feel it one bit. But I will say that the movie can probably be cut about 20 minutes. It probably can be cut about 20 minutes here and there, bits and pieces.
It could be
Less-
like you could
lesser
cut parts
takes.
of scenes.
Yeah,
For sure.
and
Yeah.
you get down to a 3 hour or 2.5, 2:40 runtime. I think the movie is crisp, clean, beautiful from beginning to end. But again, like I said, it didn't hurt my viewing whatsoever. 3 hours, like it flew by for me.
Interesting.
Agreed.
you know, I think. Oh,
Oh, go ahead, Gio. Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say with the third act, I think because at that point, and you know, we're getting into spoilers here. Riddler's locked up. It's Batman versus his followers, so maybe that's not as enticing as you think about the Dark Knight and how that third act was. Well, even that too. People have said that felt long too once it got to the Two-Face stuff and whatnot. So, I mean, maybe it was. I'd be curious to know, like, what about the third act made it feel longer.
I think. Okay, so I don't mind these scenes, but the third act does feel like they're setting up future projects. And look, they are, because Batman's talking.
Oh my God, there was
parts of the
like
city,
5
and it's
different
like,
villains they teased.
oh, there's going to be people grasping for power, and they show Penguin, and then we see Joker, and it felt like we're setting up our cinematic universe of this Batman world. It did, but how else do you do it, though? You got to do it in this movie, right? So
they set up like
I didn't mind it.
5 at least different villains. I will say, for me, the thing that they could have cut out entirely for me was the Joker scene. I could have been fine. I honestly didn't need any of that jail scene. Arkham, if you will. I didn't need any of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to see, but like, I think I agree with Brian. It doesn't really play to the movie.
It wasn't necessary, but
yeah.
Did we want to see? Do you think we had to see Riddler freaking out over his plan not going through, though? I think we had to see that.
Yeah.
We didn't have to see
for sure.
Anything with the Riddler, I was happy with.
Yeah.
He was my favorite.
So you could have just had that same scene, but just not shown Joker, basically. Like,
well, you could. I mean, even their conversation did not matter to me. Like, there honestly was really no point other than to tease.
It was just to plant the Joker.
It was fan service. You know, you got Riddler and Joker talking. You know, that's never happened in live action.
I mean, there was so many character teases, future villain teases that like I didn't need the Joker. And I think I said it to Jake after the movie and to my friends. I kind of don't want to see Joker in this world right now. Like,
I don't think he's going to be the villain in the second movie.
Oh, I don't either. I don't either. But at this rate, like, I don't want to see him in the second film. I don't want to see him in the third film. Like,
I don't know if you guys saw what Matt Reeves said about him. I'm sure Gio has, but Brian and Jacob, have you heard what Matt Reeves has actually said about him?
I heard something
that he's been around and it's
they said that he has a birth defect.
Oh yeah,
that I heard that makes him keep smiling. But he's not actually Joker. He is just a serial killer right now.
Yeah.
He's not. He actually hasn't. He hasn't Joker yet.
He is the Joker, but he hasn't become the Joker.
He hasn't become the Joker. He is still just his regular form, who is a serial killer.
But he also said that they've interacted before.
Well, I was going to say Batman has to be the one who put him in there, right?
Put him here, and what he said about that deleted scene. Apparently, there's a brief interaction between the unseen Arkham prisoner and Batman, which it'll be on the 4K special features. Well, hopefully.
But yeah, there was an infinite.
I think the reason for that Arkham scene is for obvious reasons. We found out this week that Gotham PD show has been morphed into an Arkham show.
Yeah.
So that's why they did it, because now you have ground on what you're kind of basing it on. You know, you're going to base it on the characters who are there, and maybe we do see Paul Dano again and Barry Koenig as Joker, etc. I doubt it, but it seems like that's what they were going for. It's their version of a shared universe, and they got to make sure they plant the seeds somewhere, and there's your little seeds at the end of the film,
which I think is a very interesting concept for a series, like a kind of a haunted mansion horror-esque Arkham series. Like, just think about Batman's Rogues Gallery and just the amount of potential cameos or characters you can include in that. I mean,
he's arguably got the best Rogues Gallery of all comic book here.
Him and Spider-Man, they're like, neck and neck right there.
Well, while we're on the topics of villains, let's talk about Paul Dano as Riddler. Obviously, a big part of this film. He is the main antagonist, and it seems like at this moment in time for Batman that his toughest test as a vigilante, a caped crusader. You know, we don't know what he's done in 2 years, but it seems like this is his hardest test yet. And for the first time in any Batman film ever, we got a true detective story. Something that Batman. I mean, look, the guy debuted in a comic run called why am I blanking all of a sudden? Detective Comics is what it was called.
That's what
Detective
DC stands
Comics.
for.
So, and out of all the Batman movies we ever had, 2022 is the first time we have officially seen a detective story with Batman, and his relationship with Jim Gordon. But let's talk about Paul Dano's side of this and the plan and the performance, the idea of him. I will say that I absolutely loved his introduction in that scene with him coming out of the shadows.
Oh,
Very, very
When they
terrifying.
first show him,
That was freaky.
yeah,
Extremely
Brian.
terrifying. And we have been
Man.
we've been hearing for a couple of years now that Matt Reeves has taken very heavy vibes from Seven, from Zodiac. That screamed Zodiac. That screams Zodiac from top to bottom. And I could not get enough of his character. I loved it. I loved the performance. He was absolutely terrifying. And I thought Paul Dano crushed it just as I thought he would. And then it was topped off with a nice, beautiful cherry in that interrogation scene at Arkham where he was officially unmasked and we saw him interacting with Batman. Just an overall great performance and I think a great choice in villain for the very first movie.
Well, you guys were right when you told me when he was first cast that it was a great choice because I didn't know who the hell Paul Dano was.
And do you know who the original choice was, but he turned down the role?
To play Riddler?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
It was Jonah Hill.
Oh, I would not want to see that.
I remember that. I
It's
remember
funny now that you say that. I remember.
No way.
I'm glad it was. Look,
Thank
I love Jonah
God.
Hill, and he's an Academy level actor, but I wouldn't have liked.
We would have
seeing
seen
it.
his face too much.
Yeah, Paul Dano. I'm so glad they went with Paul Dano, to be honest.
Yep.
And I'm so
Yes.
glad. Who challenged me to There Will Be Blood? I think it was Keith, or was it somebody else?
Keith or
Oh,
Gio,
Gio.
yeah.
I'm so glad I watched that before I watched this because, like, it just gave me some more context on the type of actor he is. And look, we didn't see his face until the end, and I loved that because when you finally see his face, the fact that he looks so
Normal.
normal is scarier.
Yeah,
to
but
be
you
honest.
can see like the different types of gears in his head turning when you looked at him.
Oh,
like
for
you
sure.
obviously knew, and of course we know that he's the Riddler, so he's off. But
Yeah.
just the performance, you can tell that he was just off.
Oh,
there was just
absolutely,
something weird going on with
even
him.
when they
So
turned and you see his
creepy.
face, but
Yeah,
it's just so I love that because we saw that dining room scene in the trailers and they eventually showed his face like late in the marketing, but I didn't see it.
Mhm.
But I love that because he planned to get caught. And why? Because he's going to flood the city. Like that, it was so smart the way they did it. But yeah, it doesn't matter whether you think he's the best villain of Batman of all time or Joker is or somebody else. They're all the top 2 or 3 or 4 are all amazing and we can enjoy them. So like, I think, for me personally, he's the second best behind Joker in The Dark Knight for me. Like he's just so damn good. And it's a different kind of portrayal. But I loved it. And I always thought the Riddler could work. Remember, what was it? They were teasing, like we got rumors that they were going to tease Riddler in like the Ben Affleck universe.
Well, they put the question mark in one of the scenes.
Yeah, but we never got him. And during that time, I was like, they could do something so cool with Riddler because he can plant seeds and put riddles around the town. And they did it even better than I could have imagined. So,
well, they made him a serial killer, which is super cool.
Mhm.
And then you like a serial killer leaving riddles for the city's vigilante just like makes sense.
Yeah.
It just fits in this world, right? You have this vigilante going out at night and saving the city and doing what he can. And a serial killer is going to cling on to that. He's going to be excited. He's going to notice. I love that, all the streams that he was doing, like the phone where he had all those followers and everything was to the Batman. It was all to the Batman. I love that aspect of the story. I thought the plan worked really well as well. Like just the explanation of it all from a viewer standpoint. And again, it just plays to that mystery detective solving aspect. And I was so obsessed with it. I love these types of stories. And when you plant something like Batman and Riddler and Gotham over the top of it, and when it's done this well, it's awesome. We haven't seen a film like this since like Gone Girl, Zodiac, Seven. Like those are all those types of films. Maybe not as dark, but they all have that same vibe, and it really, really played to the strength of something like a Zodiac and a Seven. That was very terrifying at that time, and this is just as terrifying. I thought Paul Dano was great. I thought he crushed it. I knew he would, but he shattered all expectations for the character. And I love that they kept his mask on most of the time until the very end. We didn't see his face. It's also slightly terrifying that he actually wrapped his head in saran wrap. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he, outside of his mask, was actually wrapped in saran wrap.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Paul Dano actually said that he had to push them to allow him to do that. That they weren't going to allow him to do that. He actually said, no, I want to do this for this character. So he was all on board with this character, and it totally came through in the movie.
Yeah. So you guys have seen Seven, right? I mean, Jake and Gio have. Have you, Brian?
I saw it a very, 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 very.
So there's a moment
time
in
ago.
Seven, right? I feel like when Catwoman opens the bag, she thinks
Yes.
it's a bag of money, but she sees Annika.
Yes.
That's like their homage to Seven, because it's like, oh shoot, there's a dead body in the bag.
Uh-huh,
Like that was crazy.
There's so much of Seven. I mean, Jeffrey Wright and Robert Pattinson are essentially Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt.
Their relationship is so good. The take on Batman, like I love Jim Gordon in the Dark Knight trilogy. Gary Oldman is obviously great. The transition from being a cop to commissioner, etc., is great. But I love this take on this relationship. They work so well together, and for the first time, like it's literally Batman and Jim Gordon figuring out the mysteries. How they have a meeting spot, and it's not just on a random rooftop. It's where nobody else knows where they are. Like it is so classic Batman and Jim Gordon stories. And Jeffrey Wright, like, he's gonna crush it. He's great in everything. He's literally great in everything.
My buddy, who is, as long as I've known him, like Batman is the greatest thing to be in comics and everything. And he went and saw it. And literally, I'm not even kidding you. Like this was his like level of like breakdown of the movie. Like he's that obsessed with it. One of his things is he said that this is the best Jim Gordon Batman relationship to ever have come across on the screen. Like he was like, it is literally, it felt like how it is in the comics. It felt like it is in the comic books, or excuse me, in the TV shows, like all of it. Like that was the best, how they worked together, like literally worked together to solve the, like the cops would be like, he can't be here. And he's like, no, he's with me. Like we're doing it. And that was cool to see, because I mean, they're both great actors, and I mean, they're important to each other in comics, so why not in the movies as well?
The precinct scene might be the best, and as Curtis says here, Batman could have pulled his punch on Gordon. He could have pulled that punch.
Dude, when Gordon is talking to him, acting like he's being all hard.
It's so
with him,
good. It is so
like,
good.
We got to get you out of here.
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
Well, and
Hey,
it's funny
that,
too. Oh, go ahead.
There are funny moments in this movie. There's like maybe like 5 like just subtle jokes or moments, and they work so well.
I also
you made me yawn.
Sorry. It's been a very long day, you guys. I love the fact that also because of the relationship, you can tell that when Jim pushes back against him, he's going to listen, whereas he wouldn't listen to anybody else. He is the only person that he would listen to if Gordon pushes back and says, no, that's not right, or no, we can't do that. He's going to listen to that. So I just, their relationship was fantastic. Jeffrey Wright was great. The chemistry building between the two of them, the way the story was told, I didn't think it could be any better personally.
Agreed. Riddler, I didn't get to say my piece on Riddler, but Riddler was easily my favorite part of the whole entire movie.
Yeah, you did, Ryan. You went like this.
Yeah, that was it. Every time I saw him, I was just like, oh, he's so creepy. And that's like how I want my like villains to be. Like if he's meant to be like this serial killer, like I want to get the like vibe of like being creeped out by him. Like he just appearing behind people in the dark and killing them with very weird things. And just like, yeah. I
How
applaud.
about the thumb drive part?
Yeah, to Andy's
What
comment.
Andy said.
Yeah, that absolutely is a Billy thing.
That was so good. So
It's-
good.
Yeah, everything was done so well, and it never felt sticky, kind of like a Jim Carrey type Riddler, or anything. It very much was a believable Zodiac killer type thing, and it was awesome through and through. The supporting cast in this movie is
The song that was
best.
playing at the beginning of the movie, was that the song he was singing to Batman at the end?
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Ave
Yeah.
Maria, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Such a great use of that
crazy.
song.
Okay, so moving on from we've talked about Batman, we've talked about Gordon, we've talked about Riddler. There's one other person in this story that we have not talked about that
There's
needs
two.
talking about. Well, this one needs a little bit more talking about than the other, and that is
Yeah.
Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman,
yes,
Selena
yes.
Kyle. This is truly a bat and cat story. She is of equal parts in this story as much as any other character in this film. Their relationship, really progressed in a short amount of time, and they have this slight obsession with each other, obviously. And we know their history in a lot of other stories. But it's a true bat and cat story, which we have yet to see. And we saw that in like Batman Returns was Michelle Pfeiffer. She crushed it. She was a great Catwoman, but we've never been able to see a true like love interaction with these two characters. And that's truly what the basis of this film is really all about, is that creating this relationship between the two of them. And whether we see her in the next film or not, I'm sure we'll see her again at some point because of the way the film left off. Obviously, she was leaving town.
HBO Max series.
She stuffed her cats in a little box, which was so sad.
I think it was just one cat.
It was funny
So
when
sad.
when
So
they were
sad.
driving away. I whispered next to Shaw. I started singing the song from Fast 9. Or no, Fast 7. Where
Fast 7?
Yeah.
But no, look, Zoe Kravitz, she embodied this role. She has auditioned for the role before. She was actually up for the one in Christopher Nolan's film.
Wow, she was young
and
back then.
She
That's
was very
crazy.
young, and she got her chance. And I think I'm not afraid to say it. I think she might be the best Catwoman we've ever seen. There's a handful of them. One was extremely terrible. The other two are very, very serviceable. But I think Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman is by far the best so far. I just love the take on her. I thought she crushed the performance.
Look,
personally.
Michelle Pfeiffer is more than serviceable. She's amazing as Catwoman.
Okay, yes, fair.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
Yeah, it's yeah. I look. I won't argue with anyone who says she's the best Catwoman. Like I like who played her in The Dark Knight Rises.
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway. I like Anne Hathaway as
She
Catwoman.
didn't
honestly,
feel like Catwoman in that
she didn't.
one.
But that's because that's the world that Christopher Nolan built. It was supposed to be like
She's a burglar thief.
So non-comic
yeah,
book.
but it's just
That's how he made his characters. Even Bane doesn't really feel like Bane that much.
See, but Bane
be
felt
honest.
more to me. Catwoman just literally felt like a burglar, and the only thing that tied her to
so
being a cat was the hood.
That's just what Nolan was going for. But
goggles.
I think the whole movie, but her Catwoman is the perfect combination of comic booky, but as realistic as it can be. And I think that's why it feels so great. Because look, the Michelle Pfeiffer one, that whole movie is bonkers. Like it's Looney Tunes crazy. But like this one feels comic booky while also feeling realistic, which I love.
Rachel, you're not wrong. So many animals: bat, cat, rat, penguin, falcon.
Falcon.
Not wrong, Rachel. I
Very
mean, Gio,
true.
Zoe Kravitz, Catwoman. What'd you think?
Amazing. I mean, she just, you wonder why the Batman's 3 hours long. It's because they gave her an arc as well. It's not just Batman. Like
they damn near gave every single character an arc.
100%. And so I'm so glad that they did bring in the Carmine Falcone, Selena Kyle
Falcone.
storyline. Yeah, the father-daughter. I mean, real quick, John Turturro as Carmine Falcone, like
He
so
was so
incredible.
good.
Yeah, he
amazing.
was.
Yeah, amazing. But I mean, Zoe Kravitz, yeah, she absolutely delivers. Like I said, like those emotional moments where either she's putting on a face to, plan to kill her own father, or, she's kicking ass. She's fearless, take care of herself. When she's taking the money from Penguin and drives off, and he uses the bike to like sweep the guy's leg and then takes off. And I mean, she's just a badass, and I'm really hoping she gets an HBO Max series. Please make that the unannounced rumored one.
I mean, I would love it. I just don't need every character in this movie coming out with a series.
Yeah, everyone gets a spinoff. Riddler
if
gets a
they want to
spinoff.
do a Gotham City Sirens spinoff, I'm not going to complain. Jacob.
No. Do a legit Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
Make her one of them.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
She was awesome. Every single supporting character. It's funny because it felt like Batman was obviously number one, but like every other character was like 1.5. They were like barely
just
underneath.
as equal of footage.
Yeah,
as,
and
like Gordon and Catwoman, same amount of footage. Riddler, etc. Like all.
Yeah,
of them.
like everyone. Like it felt like Penguin had his own arc. Falcone had his own arc.
This is so true. Samir said she's definitely the sexiest Catwoman yet. She got Batman simping.
Yeah. Batman
Oh yeah, I was afraid he was
Yeah.
gonna crash his bike at the end. He kept looking
when they say bye on the rooftop before they get on their bikes, right? And
Yes.
he like reaches in for a kiss and she backs away.
Yes.
And I love that because look, he's so like alienated from humanity. Like he has no human connections other than Alfred, like none. And he was probably
Jim
like,
Gordon.
oh, I finally have like, and when they're like, when he's like holding her and over her mouth, there's like sexual tension there between them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
that
that, we're
is?
finally seeing the bat and the cat storyline. Like,
Yeah, so,
actual love take on these two characters. Like in Dark Knight
Yeah.
Rises, they had a very like partnership, like connection. In
Yeah.
Batman Returns, like there were moments of it, but they never went full send on it.
Mhm.
This one they went full send, and we were
Yeah.
getting like Batman going forward. His love interest, like we might get more, but his
Yeah.
love interest is Selena Kyle. To
But
me,
and
his love
neither
interest
of
is
those
Selena Kyle.
Batmen felt like desperate for like some type of human connection. This Robert Pattinson one did. So when she pulls away and then she leaves, it's like heartbreaking. And they ended the movie on that, which is crazy.
It's funny because I'm reading Hush right now, and I'm almost done with it, and it's very much that relationship. It literally is exactly how it is in the comic books.
Wow.
It's
That's
like
cool.
Exactly like to a T.
Probably my favorite scene was Selena going into the club, Batman watching her and talking to her, and just identifying all the corrupt officials of Gotham City, one by one, and how she's like, starting to get annoyed by it, and like, why do I feel like a fish on a hook, and all that stuff. And yeah, it's everything with Bat and Cat, great, no complaints.
And Andy, just to clarify, that was absolutely not shade. I would love to see Birds of Prey.
Yeah, better version. Wait, there's a Hush animated movie?
Oh, dude, it's great.
I didn't even know that.
I'm reading.
I'm
the
watching
book.
that ASAP.
I'm reading the comic before I read the watch the movie.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
so good.
The Long Halloween, fantastic comic book. This Hush, fantastic comic book. I'm reading Court of Owls next.
Yeah, I need to.
Speaking of Court of Owls, I want Court of Owls to be next.
They teased.
So does Matt Reeves.
So many villains. I made a list. They teased Joker. These are the ones I caught. Correct me if you guys caught anything else. Bane, Joker, Hush, Two-Face, Court of Owls, and the fun one that I'm entertaining in my own head is the Bouncer twins at the door is Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Trigger twins.
Wait, was there a Two-Face reference?
The DA got killed.
Oh,
so somebody's gonna Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
Harvey
guess
Dent will
so.
step in.
I guess
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. Which
So-
I hope that doesn't happen because that's exactly what happened in the
Well,
Dark
but
Knight
see,
trilogy.
I'm not finished with it, so don't say anything. But he's in this Hush comic, so if you're gonna play that, you kind of need.
Well, Matt Reeves already said this week.
Both
He
of
said
them.
he would really like to bring Hush to the screen.
God, I would love that.
He would really like
if
to
they bring
Hush
in
to the
Harvey
screen.
Dent, just keep him Harvey Dent. Like,
Edward Elliot, I
honestly.
think was the name.
But I mean, if we're talking about villains real quick, I think I would love to see the Court of Owls. I would love.
It has to be
see the
done.
Court of Owls.
It
It's never
has
been
to
done
be done.
before.
So
It's never
No,
been
I'm
done.
not
I'm
familiar
saying
with
it
Court of
needs to
Owls.
be.
Yeah.
What is the
Owls are always
physical
good.
threat to Batman with Court of Owls? Like, what is?
Well, they're like assassins.
Okay,
They're
that's what I was asking. Like,
and they have money and power, and they
Yeah, they're a secret organization, very similar to a lot of organizations where a lot of powerful people contribute and are a part of it, but they're essentially assassins as well.
Yeah,
yeah.
and
So
what?
because
Ezra
one of my
West just said talent.
Yeah,
as
Talon.
well.
Talon,
one of
yeah.
my only complaints about this movie is that we didn't get to see Batman fight somebody who could actually like survive more than 10 seconds in a fight with him. The only reason he was being shot at the whole time, but
That
I
hallway
see,
scene, by the way,
great.
Oh
But
my
I wanna see
god!
This Batman because I love his
Epic.
suit and I love the way he moves in his suit. I want to see this Batman fight
Oh,
somebody who
stop
can
it, Chuck.
physically fight him back. So that's why I'm like wondering, can Court of Owls give me
yes, 100%.
100%.
Good.
Well, Talon, he's like their main
that?
assassin.
Yeah,
guy.
because like I
Right.
don't want to look. I'm fine if they want to bring Bane in, fine. But like I don't want it to just be Bane who like can go toe to toe with
No,
Batman.
I want
you know?
I want a winged creature against another winged creature. I want
Well-
bats versus owls.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
do
you
it.
getting in some Mortal Kombat
Let's do
stuff
it.
right there.
Let's
Creature
do it. Okay. Oh, Gio, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, I think for this one, Jacob, I think you're onto something because while the Riddler definitely, I think he even says like my
Yeah, he
power
says,
is
"I'm
up
not
here.
strong like you" or something. Yeah.
My power is up
Mhm.
here, but in lieu of that, of not having a physical villain, I think the third act is more situational. Batman's trying to defeat these Riddler followers. I mean, one of them has literally a shotgun, and Batman gets blasted right in the
blows
chest.
him up.
And while that's happening,
Crazy.
the flood is going, and so civilians die in this movie.
Oh, for
Oh
sure.
god, yeah.
You better
just
be
don't
okay
literally
with
see
that.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You better be okay with people dying. It happens in comic book lore. So, anyways, yeah, I think with this movie it was more situational. We're just dealing with all that.
Go ahead.
Did anybody think that Selena was going to die when she was trying to help Bruce on the catwalk?
Yes, I
A
thought she
little
was going to
bit,
get
yeah.
shot.
I
from
thought she was going to get
behind.
shot in the back.
Yeah.
Not like I thought Alfred was gonna die earlier in the movie.
He didn't
Oh,
die.
yeah.
He didn't die.
No, I thought he was. I was like,
No,
no.
he's saying he thought.
I was like, oh
There was
man.
no way Matt Reeves was going to kill his boy. That's his
Yeah.
boy.
I know. I was
Ooh.
like,
wasn't
why
gonna
would they
kill him?
bring Andy Serkis in just to kill
He
him?
wasn't
No
going to
way.
kill him.
Because he was directing Venom.
But you know
No
why? To give us
way.
that hospital scene, which was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
The addition of Andy Serkis as Alfred, even though it was short, was brilliant. I love the take. I think he's a great foil for Bruce when he needs to be. But I can't wait to see what the relationship looks like now that this Bruce understands who he needs to be.
Mhm.
And I'm super, super excited to see the relationship grow. But we do have one last character to talk about.
Wait, can I just say one other thing?
Sure.
One thing that I don't know if you guys agree with either, but my friend that is a giant Batman person, that he said his favorite part of the whole entire movie is he said this is the first movie live action that he feels actually got Gotham right.
Agreed.
He
Agreed.
said that he loved the movie, but his favorite thing was that he felt like this was finally the movie that understood how Gotham is supposed to be. Like, it is scummy. It is not a great place. You don't like walk around on the street because you're gonna get jumped. Like,
Agreed.
that was his favorite part of the whole entire thing was how dead on Gotham felt. It wasn't like there much hope there. And
Well, I agree with you, Brian, because I rewatched The Dark Knight the other night, and Gotham in those movies just feels like your generic
New York.
like metropolitan city
It
that has
feels like New
crime
York.
problems. Yeah. And I
Feels like
think
New York.
again, Nolan was trying to make it like super realistic. So like it's just like it's Detroit or something with a lot of crime, but this feels like Gotham, which is great.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I've seen a lot of people talk about it, and Andy said it here. They get a lot of the video game vibe from it, from the Arkham.
I can
games.
understand that. If you've played all three of them, it is
Yeah.
very grimy, dark, like you're going to get jumped on the street.
And I think
type
that's what the
feel.
opening was all about. After we saw the Riddler do his bidding, and then once we saw the Batman monologue, I think that's what the entire part of that scene was all about, to show you what Gotham is really like.
Yeah.
What this Gotham feels like, people spray painting on pillars on a random night, people attacking on a subway train, etc. It feels very Gotham. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. 100% agree with that.
Cool.
Okay. One last character to talk about here, and maybe the one that we're all excited to talk about because the possibilities for him is quite endless at this point. We know that he's coming in a HBO Max series very soon, and that is Colin Farrell's Penguin. He was in a much bigger part of the movie than I was expecting to be in. He played a central role in this with the El Rata and the rat and all that stuff. He was obviously in the gigantic, amazing, beautiful, perfect scene that is the car chase in the middle of the film. And he's a central part in Jim Gordon and Bruce figuring out what the hell is going on with the Riddler's riddles. Gio, I'll let you start this one off, man. Did Colin Farrell kill it, or did Colin Farrell kill it?
Both. It's gonna take me a while to get over the fact. I mean, by now we all know it's Colin Farrell, but there are times when I still remind myself that's Colin Farrell. Wow. And we knew he was gonna bring it 100%. It's just I don't know. It kind of leaves me speechless, like what more can be said about it. It's whether it's him, like having a moment where he is literally walking like a penguin. Like, I thought that was very clever. Or, when he's like, wanting to go toe to toe with the bat, and he's like, "Hey, vengeance, think you can take my money," and stuff like that. He was just great, man. And I keep thinking about that moment where he turns, he looks, and he sees the Batmobile from a distance, revving up, and he's just like, the camera stays on him, and he's just like, "Holy fuck!
I'm getting juiced right now." Like,
just thinking about that scene. Yeah,
it's so funny because Jake, this movie had so many of like your favorite type of cinematic things: the car chase, that hallway scene, the score. Like, I literally sat there going, like, this is Jake's favorite type of this, and this. And he's like squealing the whole entire time.
And I want to get back to Penguin, but that car chase, my God,
somebody said in the chat that a lot of people died. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
There were so many cars getting messed up in that scene.
Bruce has got no, at this point, when it's not directly tied to him, he has got no reservations about life when hunting down someone.
He's not planning to kill people, but just he accidentally kills people.
Collateral damage.
You know what's funny is, and I don't know who I said this to, but we saw a lot of the car chase in the trailers because it's obviously like a big part of like getting you excited, right? And that moment of him hunting down Penguin, and then the scene of him upside down walking in the car. Even seeing it that many times, I never once thought, wow, I didn't care to see that because I saw it in the trailers. It still hit me like it should have if I watched it for the very first time. And it was the part of the score. It was the part of the way that it's shot. And it's something we haven't talked about yet in our show, but this is one of the single most beautiful films I have ever seen in my entire life. The cinematography of this movie is outrageous. Some of the camera work. And I read an article with Matt Reeves on that car chase. He did it particular, he wanted as many mounted cameras on the cars as possible.
Yes.
To add that level of like intensity on top of the music and the shots that were already happening. And I know for me, because I'm a car guy, I like ships, I like cars, I like those types of sequences. Mounted scenes are the best types of scenes. When you can mount a camera on a car and see it from that angle, it is the single best type of scene. But yes, back to the angle. Anyway,
No,
that's great, Jake, because you touch on like just the masterful work of putting together that action sequence, you know, whether it's cameras, driving in the rain, and then of course the acting, you know, like from an acting standpoint, Colin Farrell carries that whole entire scene.
Why does this man not get used more in movies?
It's been happening for years.
Brian. I know. I don't. It's one of the questions I don't understand.
Colin Farrell?
Yes. Yeah. Like, think he was the best part of Fantastic Beasts.
Fantastic Beasts, yeah.
He is arguably one of the best parts of this movie. I'm drawing a blank on everything else he's in, but he's
in Phone Booth. Remember Phone Booth?
Yeah.
In like the early 2000s, the 2000s, he was huge, but then he
was used a lot, but not in the best of. Oh, SWAT. Oh,
yeah.
SWAT,
like they were trying to force him into being a movie star, but he's actually a freaking fantastic actor.
It's
Saving Mr. Banks.
Saving Mr. Banks is the movie that
he's just so good, and like that. Like I want to see more of his character. Like.
And you're going
in a series.
Exactly. And I'm like, they clearly set him up because of all the Iceberg Lounge and all that stuff. And he's just so good. He's one of those. Yeah. One of those actors where I'm just like,
take it easy.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
He's just
so I'll say this about Penguin is that
I love how everyone's just listing his movies.
Daredevil.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
As Bullseye. But up until this point, the Penguin has had a certain perception, right? Like we view Penguin as Danny DeVito. Like that's how people, when you think of Penguin, you think of Danny DeVito, and that's how you see Penguin. And even like in the comics, that's kind of how he is. This is going to change the perception of Penguin going forward forever. And especially we're going to get him in the series, potentially in, I hope he's just like a reoccurring character in every Batman movie. Like,
well, he's now leading the syndicate, essentially the crime. He is now head honcho.
Falcons.
So now, like, I think people are going to take Penguin seriously, and it shows me that you can take any character and do a really cool spin on them, and then make them badass and cool. So I
think DC.
Yeah.
Actually, Jacob, you're wrong because the hardcore fanboys disagree with it.
Oh my goodness.
I think DC is doing a good job. They arguably, in my opinion, probably have more characters that like people take as a joke. Like how often before Jason Momoa did people make fun of Aquaman? He was like the butt end joke of main comic book characters. And then you have characters like Riddler, where it's Jim Carrey's like he's just this ridiculous person. And then Penguin was just this like short, fat, waddly guy that like no one really took seriously. They're figuring out like how to do polka dot.
I need a serious, grounded horror take on Kite Man. Damn it!
Yeah,
give me Kite Man.
No, he needs to be Peacemaker's #1 villain,
or Condiment King. Give me Condiment King.
If he,
what is he gonna do? Poison condiments? I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. But they're doing a very good job taking these characters that you're taking as a joke. Marvel, it's still different because these characters aren't so much known. Like Guardians of the Galaxy was not heavily known when the movie came out. Now people love him. You know who the Riddler is. You know who the Penguin is. Mm-hmm. You know who Aquaman is. So Aquaman was the gay joke of like all the comic book characters. Like, oh, he talks to fish and John Booth. Yes.
And now he's
he bangs
fish.
The
gay joke of the movies.
Yeah. So, but they're taking these characters.
Freaking Peacemaker, I swear to God.
Yeah. And they're making them like real. Like the Riddler is creepy now. He is a serial killer, and so they're just doing a bang up job with these characters. Samir,
I can't get over the peacemaker of
yeah.
No, look, on that, I wanted to say, and maybe this is the way we kind of wrap things up, but as much as I want to see, and not to say that you can't do it, as much as I want to see Justice League movies and, you know, Superman fighting with Flash or Batman fighting with Wonder Woman or whoever it may be, as much as I want to see that, DC is at their best when they tell single stories, when they don't have to focus on an entire universe. And this is just my opinion, right? You can shoot me down all you want. That's fine. You can come at me all you want. I would love to see superhero Justice League film again in the future. I think there's no problem with doing one and bringing characters together and letting actors play the characters and doing it. But I really do think that they are at their best when they allow a director to capitalize on telling a story with a character, not having to worry. Well, yeah, not having to worry about connecting it to a story that's coming in the future, right? Like the reason why Wonder Woman works so freaking good is because it has no connection to the other universe. It's a movie that's in the past. Look what happened to 1984. And we all agree differently on 1984. But because it's kind of connected a little bit in present day to a little bit things that are happening, it wasn't as good, right? When you take a director like Matt Reeves and he walks in and says, hey, I want to do a Batman story. I have this take. I want to do a super hardcore noir detective story with this character where we don't have superpowers, right? It may not be as grounded in real life as what Christopher Nolan does, but I want to give something very, very different to this character that we haven't seen. I have my history. I've played the Arkham games. I've read comic books. I know these movies. Let me tell this story. And look what's happened so far. Like, the movie is absolutely crushing. There's been multiple people, myself included, saying it is the best Batman movie out of all of we like Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, Christian Bale, like all of these movies we've seen from these characters or these actors, and we're saying that Robert Pattinson's Batman movie led by Matt Reeves is the best of them all. That is because Warner Brothers has allowed him to create a world that he sees that isn't, binded by a Justice League world. And, they're not obviously going to listen to me. I'm some schmuck from California who they're never going to see on the internet. But I would love to see single stories told like this about all the DC characters.
Yeah.
Right? If that's the way that Aquaman goes forward with Lost Kingdom and his franchise, so be it. Like, I would love for it to happen that way. Like, it doesn't need to be connected because guess what? There's a plethora of stories with these characters that have nothing to do with the other Justice League members. Yeah. There is 70 years of comic books to tell stories with these characters if you want to go off something that doesn't have to pull from Superman or Batman or Woman or all of them together. So that's just me. Like, not everything needs a universe, but I'm not saying you still couldn't do a Justice League movie.
That's the thing. We can have both.
You can still do it. You can still
have both. And I'm not saying I want Robert Pattinson in the Justice League. No, I want this Batman to be, other than the Batman side characters, right, to be the only superhero in this world. But and then you can they're already doing it. We have Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck in that more fantastical world. So I'm totally fine. Because I do want to see a good Justice League. We've had, we had the Snyder Cut, obviously, but I'm saying I want to see another good Justice League movie going forward. And we have both.
Like, think about this. Just think if they would have done setups to something like the Justice League. Can you imagine if we had done a Matt Reeves Batman trilogy, Zack Snyder's Man of Steel trilogy, James Wan Aquaman trilogy, Patty Jenkins Wonder Woman trilogy? I mean, that's 4 right there that you're just like, whoa. Like, yeah, those are directors.
And you just told epic stories with just those characters.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't, you could have maybe done Muschietti for all 3 Flashes. I don't know. We'll see. But and then like throw maybe give someone, I don't know, Green Lantern, Cyborg. I don't know. But like, it's wild to think like people would be eating that up. Can you imagine like as just straight Matt Reeves trilogy of Batman, a James Wan Aquaman trilogy, Patty Jenkins Wonder Woman, and then just at the culmination, just this like massive.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, even though those characters exist in the larger universe, like Wonder Woman doesn't interact with any other characters in 1984. Aquaman doesn't, other than mentioning fighting Steppenwolf, it's not really connected to the DCEU that much. Like, so they are kind of doing that, but they still exist in the outer world, you know. But yeah. But I prefer like this Batman. I want it to be completely separate, for sure.
Gio, don't go on a rant. Just get your thought.
You guys just gave me my topic for tomorrow's video.
Go ahead.
What I will say about the Batman, and I said this on yesterday's stream on my channel, was this was great, not just for DC, but for the comic book genre. I mean, you think about all the risks that were taken with this movie, you know, the runtime, the tone of the movie, what they wanted to do with the Batman, who is the crown jewel of DC Comics. Like, he is the guy. There's a reason why we've gotten so many Batman movies since the late 80s. And the fact that this movie, last I saw, it grossed $258 million worldwide opening weekend. A 3-hour movie, nearly 3-hour movie, did that. It's great news for the genre. It hopefully gives studios more confidence to lean into their director, their filmmakers, and their visions that they have for these characters. Because that's what it is. That's why we go to the movies. We go to the movies because of the filmmakers and what they want to do with these characters. I don't go to the movies because I want to see Toby Emmerich's Justice League. Toby Emmerich is the chief, hopefully soon to be a former chief of Warner Brothers. But I go for these filmmakers, and the Batman is everything, like I said, that Matt Reeves promised. And the fact that this movie is doing great hopefully leads to, like I said, Sony, they want to do some things with the Spider-Man universe. Marvel, they just put parental controls on their Disney Plus app, which means they're probably going to go into that darker territory. Blade, Deadpool, Moon Knight, whatnot.
Marvel Blood.
Oh yeah. And I'm looking at Multiverse of Madness now, and I'm saying, hey, look.
I mean, we already saw it in the trailer. There's some she's going on.
If there is a cut that Sam Raimi really wants to have, and it's like 2 hours and 45 minutes, a movie like that, absolutely. Even though it's a Doctor Strange movie, I'm for that. So, a lot of great stuff. So,
yeah, it's obviously we have a long way to go, and there's a lot of things happening this year for DC. They do have 3 other films coming out this year that are not the Batman.
What is it? It's what? Black Adam, Flash, and what am I forgetting?
Aquaman 2.
Aquaman 2.
And so at the moment, those are all in the pseudo DC extended universe. Whether or not they really do connect, we'll see. But you can tell that at this point, you know, maybe we're a little bit more on the side of, hey, just tell great stories. Don't worry about connecting them.
Let directors direct.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
I think that's a great spot to end the conversation for tonight. We will not be done. We're not done talking about the Batman. I can tell you this right now. Myself and Keith are putting together our next bracket, and it may have something to do with the Batman.
Do I have to watch all the Batmans?
I mean,
you might actually have to. Yes.
Regardless of that, yes.
Legit, you might actually have to. I'm not going to reveal what the topic is just yet, but it's going to be fun. It's a nice, fun bracket conversation that we'll be able to talk about. That may be next week. I'm not 100% sure. I want to make sure Keith is here, and that way we can get his thoughts as well. But for now, that's going to wrap up the conversation. Before we head out, I want to make sure these guys are able to plug their stuff so you guys can hear where you can find them everywhere and follow, whether it's other shows, social media, stuff like that. Jacob, why don't you start us off? Where can everyone find you online, man?
Yeah, so if you want to follow me on Twitter at JacobBartley824, you can get my thoughts on movies and television there. But also, you can find me on Bartley and Barnes. And tomorrow night, me and Keith are getting together online to discuss the Batman some more. You didn't get Keith's thoughts tonight, so we will be talking the Batman. We're also going to give our Oscar winner predictions there, but I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about the Batman. So please come check us out there.
And Brian.
Biavalzino on Twitter. And a certain point of view, if you are into the movie Trivia Schmodown, me and Jake are on that. Yeah, thanks to everyone that joined. There's a lot of people in here tonight.
We love having you guys here. Gio.
Twitter at Fandom United 21. Yes. Finally changed that Twitter username. I might change it again in the future later on. But yeah, what are you talking about? You're the one who helped give me the Grey Goose Jedi, man.
I did not.
Yeah, you
negative
did.
Ghost Rider.
Oh, I thought of another name I didn't tell you guys. You know how I used to say Tequila Sith? The Sober Sith. Because I never drink.
Hey, there you go. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, my own YouTube channel, Fandom United. Do videos there. Hey, who is that guy? Man, Jesus Christ. Yeah, my latest video touches on the rumored sequels, spin-offs for the Batman. So check that out. Appreciate the support. And yeah.
Gio didn't hear me, unfortunately.
No. He chose to ignore you.
Yeah, you can find me on POV Weekly. But also, I will say this week,
Rachel. Damn, burn. She called me the 5%.
That's great. This Thursday, 6:00 on my channel, Jake Berlin. I'll be doing a show covering, quite possibly, if it is released tomorrow, the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer. And I have special guests. Alex and Molly Damon will be with me. I'll have them on the Whiskey Jedi this week. That is on a Thursday, 6:00 Pacific on my own channel. You can check that out. We'll be breaking down, hopefully, what is the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer. Super, super pumped. It's rumored for tomorrow. We will stay tuned for that. I'll also plug our Marvel reactions. Gabby and I, we just got Thor up. It is available if you want to watch her react to the God of Thunder. It is there. And yeah, for now, just for the time being, until we get Moon Knight, which is at the end of the month, we have Apocaflix now every Tuesday at 7:00 Pacific. And then once Moon Knight kicks back up, we will have Marvel Rewind return in the middle of the week. So yeah, just like Brian said, it's been awesome having everyone here. We love interacting with you guys. Probably one of our biggest viewerships, yes, as far as live. So make sure you guys are joining us every week. Spread the word. Hit that like button, y'all. I can't tell you how much that like button really does help the channel get seen a little bit more. We really appreciate it. So for all of us here, go ahead.
We should definitely talk more DC. I mean, that's why they're here, you know. So
okay, all right. So wow, thank you everyone for joining us so much. We appreciate it. Hope you have a great rest of your night. We'll catch you guys next time.